Welcome back to Solomon's Porch with your host Jason,
And Sean.
and we are back with I want to say it's a new segment, but it's not really a new segment. It's just a segment with a bunch of
Yeah,
versions crammed in, maybe.
sort of.
Okay, so I'm not going to lie. I kind of got the idea from Track Stars. So Track Stars does something called a um, uh, definitive, and essentially it is broken down like a March Madness bracket,
hmm
and like they've done Lecrae's album, they've done the Truce album, they've done NF song, they've done theme song like TV sheet theme song, stuff like that, and it
Okay.
really works great. I wanted to kind of take that idea and go somewhere where I'm pretty sure they're not going to go. I didn't want to touch their stuff,
Right.
but we kind of do a segment anyway called Versus.
Right.
So we've done that.
Which we haven't done lately anyway.
We haven't done lately, so we're going to try to do some more of those. Honestly, it just takes a lot of research ahead of time to do a good version of it.
Yeah.
So we just don't want to, just try to cram it in just because, and we're definitely not doing that today. So,
Wink,
um,
wink.
so we're doing a horror film showdown. Horror film showdown. Essentially, some of the top. Well, we picked 8 of kind of the top 10 that we saw online. If you think someone should have been on this list, I apologize. And this is not for newer films. This is for older films. I don't watch horror movies anymore.
Well, that and I don't know. I mean, some of them are still current. These are the villains of horror films that have made typically multiple movies. In fact, actually, all of these have made multiple movies, and so we wanted to be able to pull out villains. You can have a horror film where it has sort of a generic villain, but we don't really identify them as like epic villains because they don't continue on with subsequent movies.
Right. Yeah.
So our bracket we have starting off. Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sending this to somebody I know who would give
Okay.
us some really good feedback during
Awesome.
the show.
Awesome. All right. So starting off in our first bracket, we have Michael Myers versus Leatherface. We have Ghostface versus Jason. And then we have Pennyworth on the other side versus Chucky, with Pinhead versus Freddy.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and get started right here at the top of our bracket with Michael Myers versus Leatherface. And once we've decided a winner, they will go on to bout the next group.
Yeah, so essentially just real quick snippet. So Michael Myers is from the Halloween movies. He wears a all white face and he's tried to kill his sister multiple times.
Which is actually, do you know the history of his mask?
I don't, but you can share it.
Oh, okay. Wow. So it's actually a Captain Kirk mask.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Look at you with all that wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah.
I like it. I
Well,
like it.
I just always thought it was kind of weird that we've got Captain Kirk as this sort of
Well, and Leatherface just wears anybody's face. It doesn't really matter.
yeah, whoever he's kind of diced and
Exactly.
yeah.
So the question is: does Leatherface cut off Michael Myers, Captain Kirk's face to where it is? Is that? I wonder if Leatherface has to have a real face or if a fake face will do. I don't know.
I think he can make do with
Probably,
either one,
probably so.
but he would probably prefer the real touch,
Yeah.
the feel of real skin.
So in this particular lineup, I actually think that Michael Myers takes the win, and here's why: Leatherface is loud. He has a chainsaw. He doesn't really do a whole lot of bad damage just with his hands. He could, but he's known for the chainsaw.
Right.
So to me, it seems like Michael Myers has the stealth approach because he's usually kind of quiet,
hmm
which is also helpful against someone who's loud. He's very strong. He's a very strong individual.
Leatherface is strong.
Leatherface is strong. He is.
I mean, he's lugging around a chainsaw.
So, but I just think Michael Myers has a greater ability and more of an advantage to take over or to take on Leatherface. So I'm trying to keep an eye on social media to see if I can get some feedback from there. And
Well, I will say I'll go ahead and give the win to Michael Myers as well. And the knife, the blade is going to always be easier to wield than the chainsaw is. No matter how disgusting, no matter how truly just grotesque that Leatherface may come across as. I don't think that his demented mindset is going to be able to really come on par with Michael Myers and in his shiftiness.
Well, Bill Young, he is. We've had him on the show before. We talked about his comic book shop. He is a horror film buff.
Oh,
Like he loves them.
epic.
So he agrees. He says Myers over Leatherface, but that would be quite the showdown. So I wish we could have got Bill on the show. Like Bill, if I can chime you in, send you an invite, let me know. I will throw you on here in a heartbeat. Let me know, dude. I'd love to get you in for the rest of this. But so yeah, so we have Michael Myers going on to the next round. So next is we're going to do which one next?
Ghostface versus Jason.
Ghostface versus Jason. Now, in case you're wondering, Ghostface is the individual from the Scream films. So he essentially wears the face that looks like a ghost, and he carries a big butcher knife. Jason is Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. And so, in my opinion, I think this one's pretty easy. Honestly, I couldn't find anybody to match Ghostface up with, to be honest. It may be Chucky.
Well,
Maybe.
maybe, but I think we've got a good pairing with Chucky. So
Yeah.
yeah, this was really no contest. I mean, Jason handily takes Ghostface in this. I think between brute strength and his versatility in using whatever he has at hand
Yep.
to be able to take someone out, and I mean, there's just no one really kind of better. Well, I mean, there is, I think, but we'll get into that later. But
Well,
but definitely against Ghostface, Ghostface just doesn't stand a chance. If you're talking
no.
about little whiny girls that
High
are
school girl.
talking on the telephone sort of thing, then yeah, Ghostface is great. But he just doesn't have the have what it takes.
Well, and I'd say this. I mean, Ghostface could stab Jason 10 times and Jason probably wouldn't budge.
Yeah, he'd probably think that he's being tickled or something.
Yeah, he'd take the hits, keep going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's pretty easy. So, Jason moves on. So, that's going to be Michael Myers versus Jason.
Yeah. All
now,
right.
these next two get interesting.
It definitely I think that it becomes a bit more of a challenge.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all right. So on the other side of our bracket, we have now Pennyworth versus Chucky.
So, Pennyworth is from the infamous Stephen King novel and film, It. So, Killer Clown. You know, I don't think he was the first, but I think he was definitely one of the first. I think I'd say.
I don't know.
Um,
It's pretty old.
So yeah, so It or Pennyworth and Chucky. Chucky is from the Child's Play movies. You got the older version, the newer version. Essentially, he is a toy that comes to life and kills everybody around.
You could say demon possessed.
Demon possessed, yeah. So you have both of these are notorious for killing children. Pennyworth might think Chucky is a child, so he comes after Chucky, thinking he can lure him in. I think that I'll probably give the only way I would give Chucky an advantage is if he somehow tricked Pennyworth into thinking he was a kid,
Right.
and then he like took a knife to his throat or something. But
yeah, Pennyworth would have to underestimate Chucky.
yeah, and I don't think that's going to happen. So Bill says Pennywise is technically a giant space spider in the guise of a clown, and actually that's what I was going to say. I was going to say is
we kept calling him Pennyworth. Oops.
Pennywise.
Yes.
Pennyworth. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's worth every penny though. So, but Pennywise definitely I think takes it because he transformed. Even in the older film, you saw that mouth widen up.
Wow.
And so it was pretty interesting to see that happen. And I think Chucky just wouldn't have the ability to be able to really combat
Well,
that.
and his legs are only but so big anyway to run away from Pennyworth.
Exactly.
Pennywise, sorry. Pennywise was definitely too much DC, I guess.
Probably so. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. All right. So, last one in the first round. Now, this to me, this is honestly the best matchup of all of them. So, go ahead.
Pinhead versus Freddy.
Pinhead and Freddy. Got to be honest.
Pinhead from
Pinhead's from the Hellraiser movies. So I'm not going to give the absolute best description of him, but he's from hell essentially. And you open this box, it opens the gates of hell. He comes out and he wreaks hell on whoever's around. So there's been several movies about it. The first one is definitely it was the eye opener. But then you have Freddy from the Nightmare on Elm Street films, and he kills people in their sleep. And if you pull him out into the real world, he kills people in the real world as well. It's not limited to just sleep. I know people think it's just in your sleep. That does give him the advantage of Pinhead. But the question is, does Pinhead sleep? I don't know. But I think that if Freddy gets into Pinhead's sleep world, I think Freddy has the advantage.
See, I would have to say that if you're looking at the original films, the first 2 to 3 films of Nightmare on Elm Street, you are looking at a dream base only. Now, when you're talking about being able to move Freddy outside of that arena, then I think that you could even go so far as to say, send Freddy to hell to be able to fight Pinhead. Now, you've got Pinhead in his environment and Freddy in hell, which might also be his environment.
Yeah. So,
I still think
what do you
Freddy
think?
takes it.
You think Freddy?
He's just, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to burn him up again?
And so that's kind of my thing is I don't know. And Freddy always comes back.
Yeah.
But again, the question is, he comes back because of fear of him. Would Pinhead fear Freddy? I don't know. And that's what makes this so difficult and tough to try to break down. I'm wanting some of our viewers right now to give a little bit of input.
I think if there's anybody that Pinhead's going to fear, it's going to be Freddy.
I think so too. I do.
I mean, honestly, he even over Pennywise, which I think would be a good contention for being afraid of something, but over Michael Myers or Leatherface, I mean, those guys are like toys to him, right? But Freddy.
So Bill Young says Pinhead has backup too. I thought about that. The other Cenobites in the film. And I think Pinhead might take it because he can make chains and hooks fly at you. And I thought about that too. From that very first film, all those chains and everything.
Right.
And I think if you take away the Cenobites and it's just Pinhead and Freddy.
But see, Freddy's got to have the glove.
Or does he?
Well,
he doesn't have to have the glove.
Fair.
So the question is really, where does the battle take place? That's the question.
Sure.
Where does it take place? All the battles for Pinhead were on Earth. They're during awakening hours and stuff.
Right.
Most of Freddy's stuff takes place during sleeping hours. So I think if you get Freddy,
but it's still on Earth.
But I think if you get Freddy on Earth, I think Pinhead might be able to take it. But I think if Freddy's in Pinhead's dream, Freddy definitely takes it.
Yeah.
And because there's a slight maybe in the, there's a little bit of a chance that Freddy could win in the real world, I'd have to give it to Freddy. I know, Bill Young, you say Pinhead, and you're probably right, man. You're probably right. And but
it's our show, so we're gonna go with Freddy.
All right, so we got Freddy on that one. Sorry for those who disagree. I know diehard Hellraiser fans are definitely going to disagree with us. And no, we didn't go with Freddy because Pinhead's in Hellraiser. That's not the reason why. I just think Freddy has a little bit of a say. Yeah, Bill said they would just team up. They would if they were both. They would. Yeah, they really would. They really would. That's hilarious. So yeah, man. So now we got the last or the what's this the semifinals. So we got Michael Myers versus Jason. Now I've seen this floating around social media here lately. A lot of people are, trying to figure out who would win. I think, okay, so match up. They both are very strong. I think Jason might be a little bit stronger. I think. Uh, I think Jason's mask is more durable than Michael Myers' mask. So if they got into a boxing match, I think Jason's mask would hold up better than Michael's. That's just a joke.
Ha ha.
I think Jason's always got a bigger knife. He's always got a bigger weapon than Michael. And I think his years of experience would probably go against Michael. And so I don't know. That's my thoughts. I think I would have to go with Jason on that. Sean, would you have to go Jason or Michael Myers on this one?
Well, I think it goes back to even when discussing Jason versus Ghostface. Jason just has this epic strength to him that Michael Myers. I mean, he's got a lot of strength to him, but he just kind of doesn't have quite that oomph that I feel like Jason exhibits. I would say this would definitely be an epic showdown. I would love to see this happen. I think that you're talking about a movie that probably could start with the two of them in a slugfest, and it could probably run 3 hours.
Yeah.
And they just not stop for
Yeah.
3 hours. Um, so I think from there, you probably go in either direction. I just think that Jason just has a little bit of extra edge on there. So
Yeah.
I agree. I would say Jason over Michael Myers.
Yeah. So Bill Young says that's a tough one. Jason is borderline immortal, and Myers is evil incarnate. I think Jason would overcome though.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I would take Mike any day of the week.
Yeah.
So Jason gets that one. So that puts us to
Pennywise versus Freddy.
Pennywise versus Freddy. I
I
gotta be honest.
Look, if Freddy can beat Pinhead, then Pennywise doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, this is very interesting, and that's the hard thing about these like brackets.
Freddy, I think, had the easiest bracket. I think that was the thing. Freddy was like, Duke when Duke was like at its top,
You're taking the Duke.
and completely cannot be defeated, always making the final four. That's where Freddy is. Freddy's just like, really, is there anybody that's going to come against me?
Well, right now, I think he's definitely got a way much of a greater chance at beating Pennywise
Sure.
than Pennywise has at Freddy. I really don't think this is close at all.
Pennywise is that university that you're like, dude, are they in the ACC? They're an NCAA.
Well, see,
I didn't know that they were a college. I've never heard of this thing.
I could imagine that Freddy sees Pennyworth and does that Freddy laugh. I mean, I can't do it. Whatever laugh he does, Robert
Right.
Englund has a great laugh. But I just see Freddy laughing and laughing, and he would probably just kill Pennyworth with a laugh. I think he would. I think Pennyworth would hurt so bad out of.
He just like shrivel up.
He would
and
just
die.
emotionally crumble right there on the spot, and Freddy would just keep
Okay.
laughing, and it wouldn't even be a battle. So this puts us at a very interesting place here.
Oh, this is such a cliche.
It's such a cliche. They even did a movie about it, a movie which I loved. I loved the movie, and apparently it bombed in box office. I don't understand why it bombed. I watched it not too long ago. I went through all of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, including the new one. And so real quick, Bill Young says Freddy can adapt to any situation in dreams. He did become Super Freddy after all. Yeah. So we have Jason versus Freddy. So if we were to put aside the film,
Is there actually even a winner in the film?
not really. So
Right.
here's how the film went. So the film essentially, Freddy infiltrated Jason's dream, and he kind of did this thing where he like stuck a blade in his head. Anyway, Jason wasn't really doing much in the dream world. necessarily. But then they brought Freddy into the real world, and that's where the battle happened at. And so, but in that real world scenario, Freddy, he got his butt beat for a while, and then he turned around and was going after Jason pretty good. Like, he got to the point where he almost seemed to have just about killed him in the film.
Right.
And then, very last minute, Jason comes out of the water, stabs him, sticks his thing all the way through him. And so, um,
I think the problem here is that in a lot of ways they're both immortal.
yeah, yeah. Well, Bill says Freddy, he almost killed Jason if it wasn't for those pesky kids.
Pesky
That's
kids.
hilarious. That's hilarious. Pesky kids.
Well,
Honestly,
I'm thinking Bill might be a Freddy fan.
yeah. Well, also at the end of it too. At the very end, you get that scene, and I don't even know if it's the real world or I don't know exactly what kind of world it was. But Jason was walking out of the water carrying Freddy's head, and then Freddy winks at the camera.
Right.
So to be honest, I really feel like if I'm being fair and equally across the whole realm, whenever I was talking about the Pinhead and how Freddy would have a little bit of a chance at Pinhead in the real world,
Right.
but in the nightmare world, he would completely demolish him.
Right.
With Jason, he did so well in the real world.
Right.
He did much better against Jason than he would have against Pinhead. So I have to give it to Freddy.
Yeah.
I have to.
I'm gonna call it a draw. I have to just I have to stand by the fact that they're both immortal, and there's just no real clear winner. It'd be like trying to kill the Hulk. You're not going to kill him. It's always going to be some sort of regenerative process in some way. That somebody may have won that battle for that moment, but then they're going to come back and they're going to get theirs, and it's just
So-
going to be back and forth.
One of the things I heard after it came out, someone told me that it was actually a guy I used to be really good friends with. He was saying that at one point, there was like a possible alternate ending where they both ended up in hell and they were like just fighting off all these demons. Now, I don't know if that was a legit thing or not. They
Huh.
were. I think the reason that they didn't do it, that was said to me, was that it would have cost way too much money.
Now, to see Jason and Freddy team up and battle Pinhead, that would be pretty
Oh,
That
that'd be
would be
like
cool.
Godzilla and Kong right
cool.
there.
Right? That would
Man,
be cool.
That'd be cool. That's what they got to do.
There you go.
Hey, Bill, let's start a petition that we have a Jason and Freddy versus Pinhead. That's what we need to do.
There
I'm
you
going
go.
to start one right now. I'm going to do a Google Doc. I'm going to send it out to all of our fan base, and then we're going to send it to wannabe Warner Brothers to see if they can get it done.
Okay, you
Wannabe
do,
Brothers.
you do that.
All right. Well, I hope that was fun for y'all. That was kind of fun, man.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think it was good. If I was a bigger fan of the newer stuff, we could do some other things like that.
But like you said, there's really not that much though.
Well, there's a lot more newer stuff that we just don't know about.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of other things that people were talking about, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I have no idea who that is, what it
Okay.
is.
All right.
So Bill said he's in. We're doing it.
Awesome.
All right. So we will be back with another segment soon.
Soon.
Stay tuned.
Tuned.